Okay, now we're going to deal with some classic solution problems. These are classic mixture problems. Numbers 18, 19, and 20 are much more clearly mixing things. We're mixing two different liquids in order to get a new liquid that's got a different portion in it. So this one, we're working with acid. We got one solution that's a liquid that has some portion of it being acid. In this case, it's got 25% acid. We got another solution that's got 50% acid, and we have some number of liters of each. We want to mix them together to get 10 liters of a solution that is 40% acid. So we have a simple sum of liquid that is a total of 10 liters of liquid. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do my simple sum. I've got my X solution and my Y solution, and they add up to 10 liters. Then I'm going to come up with a new sum, which is my acid sum. And this is actually a sum of the portions of each one that will be acid. I know that in the end I need a 10 liters that are 40% acid, which means in the end I'm going to have something that equals 0.4 times 10. Okay, which will ultimately just be 4. But then I'm going to put together the two portions here. So my X portion is going to be 25% acid. So 0.25 times X will be acid. My Y one is 50%. So 0.5 Y will be acid. Now 0.4 times 10, let's simplify that now. That's going to be just 4. And then if I want to clear out the decimals, I multiply everything by 100, so that becomes 25, that becomes 50, and that becomes 400. And now I have my stuff here. You might notice also that everything's divisible by 25. So let's go ahead and make these coefficients easier to work with. Divide everything by 25, divide that by 25, and I get X plus 2y equals, well, 400 divided by 25 is 16. And now I have something that's a lot easier to solve. I'll go ahead and copy this equation down here and solve it I'm going to use my preferred method of elimination. I'll subtract them. X minus X is nothing. 2y minus Y is Y. And 16 minus 10 is 6. So my 50% solution, I need 6 liters. So 6 liters at 50% acid. And that means that's my Y. And my X, well, if I've got Y equals 6, 4 plus 6 equals 10. So X plus 6 equals 10. You can just mental math that. X has to equal 4. So I've got 4 liters at 25% acid. So I have my solution. Let's go and take a look at the orange juice problem. That's number 19. So number 19, we've got, and I encourage you to pause if you're feeling like you want to try this, pause this and give it a try. And then I'm going to walk through it. You can pause between each one of these. So I've got one canned juice drink is 15% orange juice. Another is 5% orange juice. That's super cheap of them. And we want to mix together some number of liters of the 15% and some number of liters of the 5% to get a total of 10 liters, that is 10% orange juice. All right, so we have a simple sum of some that's 15 and some that's 5%, and they add up to be 10 liters. So let's do our simple sum, which is just going to be, let's say, X plus Y equals 10 again. But then we have 15% and our 5% solution. Ultimately, we want a 10 liters that are 10% orange juice. So we're going to get a sum of the portion that is actually orange juice. So equals 0.1 times 10, which will ultimately just equal 1. Let's go back in here and we'll say 0.15x plus 0.05y equals that. I will simplify it. This is going to be just 1. I now will clear the decimals. I multiply everything by 100. That becomes that. 15x. This becomes 5y, and this becomes 100. Once again, all of these are multiples of 5, so let's clear out. We'll clear it out, simplify it a little more. I really like to pre-simplify things because it makes my work so much easier in the end. So 15x divided by 5 is 3x, and 5y divided by 5 is just y, and 100 divided by 5 is 20. So I now have a new equation. It's the same equation, it's just scaled up by 100 and then down by 5. So really it's scaled up by 20. So what do you think about that? I'm going to copy my other equation down here. I have coefficients of the same, so I can subtract. So 3x minus x is 2x, y minus y is nothing, 20 minus 10 is 10, so x equals 5. That means y also equals 5, because 5 plus 5, 5 plus 5 equals 10 for our total sum. So that was fairly simple. We're going to get 5 liters at 10%, at 15%, and 5 liters at 5%, and that gets us 10%, which probably makes sense in a mental math sort of way. You're going to do number 20. You might want to pause and try it on your own. This is, again, a mixture problem, more classic mixture. We have some antifreeze A and antifreeze B. Antifreeze A is 18% alcohol. Antifreeze B is 10% alcohol. How many liters should we mix to get 20 liters of a mixture that's 15% alcohol? So we have a simple sum of A plus B equals 20 liters. So let's do that. A plus B equals 20 liters. Now I wrote this as antifreeze. It's really the alcohol portion sum. So the alcohol portion sum, we take this A plus B equals 20. We're going to copy this down here. Now the 20 needs to be 15% alcohol. So 0.15 times 20. The A part has to be 18% alcohol. So 0.18, 0.18 A, and my other part has to be 0.1 or 10% alcohol. All right, so we can sort this out. 15% of 20 is going to be 3. Okay, so I've got 15% of 20. Now, I'm going to scale everything up. In this case, I'm just going to scale them up by 1. And by 10, I mean. So that means I'm going to move my decimal over 1 and make it a 1.8 here. And this becomes a 1, and this becomes a 30. And I did that because that gets me the same coefficient here as I have here. So I can copy this equation down here, bring it down here, and I have 1.A, I have A, 1B, and that I'm going to get rid of that 1. And now I have the same coefficient. I'm going to subtract. So 1.A minus, this is 1A, that might help you think about this, is going to be 0.8A. So 0.8A, and B minus B is nothing, and that's going to equal 10. Now I'm going to, 0.8 is the same as 4/5, so I'm going to rewrite that as 4/5 A equals 10. I want to get rid of a fraction. it's a multiplier. I can multiply everything by 5/4, multiplied by the reciprocal. So 5/4 times 4/5, and 5/4 times 10. All right, 5/4 times 4/5 is just 1, because multiplying reciprocals gets you 1. So A equals 5/4 times 10, that's 50 over 4. So that's 50 over 4, which is going to be 25 over 2, which is going to be 12.5. So I got 12.5 liters of for solution A of antifreeze that's got the 18% alcohol. And I'm going to take that 12.5 and I'm going to plug it in up here. So I get 12.5 plus B equals 20. I subtract 12.5 from both sides. And I'm going to get B equals 7.5. So I've got 7.5 liters of the B antifreeze, which is 10% solution, and 12.5 liters of the A, which is 18% solution. And we're done. How'd you do?